Mr. Tom Hiddleston, always a pleasure to see you. How are you?
Nice to see you. Very well, thank you.
Good. So, Loki is back
He
after being a very naughty boy in the Avengers. For you as an actor, coming off the back of what is now the third most successful movie in history, how does that feel? Are you aware of that?
You know, the thing about it being the third most successful movie in history is it doesn't really impact. Doesn't really have a sort of physical impact on my life. So whenever I hear that, it's I'm always reminded, and it's hard to make sense of a statistic like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's so big, it's sort
just
of beyond quantifying.
Yeah, exactly. But Loki has been very good to me over the years, and he's an amazing character. You know, he's just so fun and complicated and a mixture of so many things. So it's good. It's a privilege to come back and play him. You know, it's very rare to come back and play a character twice, let alone 3 times. So
because of all the characters in the Marvel universe, Loki really does have such a huge and devout fan base, and this is without him having his own movie, and I guess even more so being a villain, and yet he's loved. First of all, how does that feel for you and your portrayal of Loki getting that response? And I guess secondly, what do you think it is about him that people just love?
Well, it is amazing. I mean, I still don't. It's amazing. It's the most incredible compliment, because I would have had no expectation of this kind of attention when I first started to play him. I knew when Kenneth Branagh asked me to play Loki in the first film, he was an interesting character. You know, lots of interesting things going on. God of mischief, innate playfulness. You know, someone who liked to lean into danger, provoke chaos, and with a sort of damaged psychology, broken, adopted, betrayed, jealous. So those things were interesting. I mean, that could be a description of many characters in film. But for him to kind of catch fire like he has, and be taken to the hearts of the audience, it's just amazing. I mean, no actor can call themselves an actor without an audience, and so that's the purity of the connection. So I'm just delighted, absolutely delighted.
One of the things, it's actually just to go back, it's very strange. Kevin Feige, we were just speaking to him, and he mentioned the moment where Loki is revealed to actually not be all dressed to the nines, and in fact quite bruised and battered and broken, as one of his favourite moments from a Marvel movie, which I think it's quite a special moment, isn't it? Yeah,
and I've never heard him say that. So I mean, I know he loves that moment particularly, but it was really important to me actually, that moment, because you know, in a sort of, Loki is the great chess master of his context. You know, he's in the poker game of Asgard, he's got the most unreadable face, and he never plays his true hand. You can never trust him. You never quite know whether he's telling the truth. And there is one moment in this film where Thor essentially says, enough, no more tricks, no more illusions, and you see the truth of his emotional state, which is actually given physical manifestation. You know, I don't want to spoil it for people, but there is someone absolutely at some kind of spiritual, the very bottom of spiritual despair, and that's big, meaty stuff for an actor, and it's fun to unpack a character who's so controlled. Like Loki is always in control, and in that moment he's not, and that was really nice.
Let's talk about Loki and Thor, because their relationship really is, there's been the beating heart of 3 movies now. How has it been for you watching their relationship grow as characters, and indeed, in turn, your relationship with Chris Hemsworth growing and as an actor?
Well, you know, Thor and Loki, I hope that what's so interesting about it is it's sort of like it's an ancient archetype. 2 brothers who love each other and hate each other and need each other and define each other, and it just gets more and more interesting. And the thing I love about it is I think the friendship I have with Chris is what makes it great, because we completely trust each other as actors, and if you trust someone, you can just go a bit further. You can go make it a bit darker, a bit more subtle, a bit more complicated. When I'm on set with him, anything goes. Like he can do anything, and he knows. Like I'll just return his serve, you know? And the same goes for him, and that's great. And it reminds me of the first time I met him at Kenneth Branagh's house, just outside London, and we've both been cast in this enormous film with Anthony Hopkins and Natalie Portman, and we were both the same age, late 20s, had been kicking around for a while, you know, had tried to get jobs, had failed. You know, we were sort of, you know, young actors at the same place in our lives, and Ken told us, he was talking to Natalie about Jane Foster, and he said, right, you guys go and train together, go and do some exercise, you know, you're going to be together for a long time, so go and have a bonding experience. And we went for a swim, and I remember, literally, I'd known him for an hour or two, and I remember turning, he turned to me or I turned to him, and he said, can you believe this is happening? And I said, no, I can't, it's absolutely amazing. And in that moment, we sort of completely recognized our mutual excitement and the size of the opportunity, and so, like, going through the experience with him, and then suddenly we're on the set of Avengers, and there's Robert Downey Jr. and Sam Jackson and Scarlett Johansson, and everybody's playing superheroes, and Chris is someone I've always been able to look across at and go, you know, can you believe this is happening? And I know he feels the same. So,
Tom Hiddleston, an absolute pleasure as
Such
always.
a pleasure.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
man.